समझ नहीं आ रहा अपने सैलरी इंक्रीमेंट का क्या करूं।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स के एसआईपी का टॉप अप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
क्या समझ में नहीं आया?
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स का एसआईपी टॉप अप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
आप समझा?
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
Why was a scheduled panel discussion on a new book on Babur suddenly scrapped and cancelled at the very last moment at Bhopal's Festival of Literature and Arts? While it is not new for censorship to dog free speech in India, and we've seen it happen time and again across political dispensations, this particular case really did attract a lot of interest because it took place in a BJP-ruled state, and the book has been written by somebody whose first book has in fact been on why Modi is right for India. The criticism of the book, which the author has called false and defamatory, was also published in an RSS-linked magazine. Many sprang to the author's defense, but it begs the larger question. Are right-wing groups or the hard right within the base now turning on their own? Or is it that once the genie is out of the bottle and once you start censoring speech, any speech, right, left, or center, then eventually it will come back and hurt even those who are ideologically somewhat on your side of the intellectual divide? In a moment from now, we'll be talking to Aabhas Maldahiyar, the author of the book on Babur. I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo Story. We'll find out from the author why somebody who believes that his book could never glorify Babur, which is what his critics have accused him of doing, why he felt the need to write an open letter to Prime Minister Modi, why his scheduled conversation at the Bhopal Lit Fest was cancelled at the last moment, why what he calls so-called Hindu groups objected to this session taking place, and why there is a division of some kind. What does it reflect? Is this a tension between the BJP government and RSS-linked groups? Is there something else going on? Or is this just vigilantes simply deciding without reading a book what you should read and what you shouldn't? The author wrote an open letter to the Prime Minister. But what's actually going on here? Let's find out from him in his own words. I want to welcome the author of this new book on Babur to the program now. Aabhas is with us. Welcome, Aabhas, to the program. Let me start by asking you, you've already said that it's false and defamatory what was published in an RSS-linked journal, Swadesh, about your book. Many people, public figures, have also commented on social media platforms saying that you would never do a book that glorifies Babur. Obviously, your book was not read and it was commented on. Why do you think this has happened and what exactly happened?
A very good evening to all the viewers and to you, Barkha. And it's indeed a pleasure to have a conversation with you. And I'm really happy looking at the premise what you set for the whole conversation, because when we look at the censoring of the freedom of speech, it's not about left, right, center. It's always been the case that it's always with the politicians. And in fact, it's a couple of years ago, I wrote an op-ed which was called "Why No Politician Will Ever Stand for the Absolute Freedom of Speech," whether it's BJP, whether it's Congress, or it's communists. Forget about communists, they can never do it. I have been an ex-communist, I know how it works. But irrespective of that, bringing the focus to what has happened here. So this is second part of my whole biography on Babur. And a lot of people have said that this is the most definitive biography of Babur ever written, because this spans to around 900 pages and it covers entire journey of Babur, right from his death of his father to him dying in Hindustan. That's how the whole story spans. And fortunately, unfortunately, Babur has not done many glorious things in Hindustan, which anybody can even glorify in right sense of mind. It's not about, and when we write history based on primary sources, it is not custodian to any political spectrum, left, right, center. It is always a history wing. And often when people ask me that which wing you represent, I was posed this question in Bangalore Literature Festival once, that which wing you are writing for. I said I'm writing for um, history wing, and which can upset left, right, both.
Yeah.
Because yes. So the moment I landed in Bhopal on 9th, I received the messages from the organizer that my session won't be held. And I was quite surprised. I thought that maybe there is something has gone wrong, or maybe on the side that people who criticize Babur or see Babur in great light have some problem. This is what I thought at first. This was the immediate reaction, because I'm used to get backlash that way. Recently, my book was reviewed by from ultra left for being over vilifying of this observed over vilification of Babur. So I was expecting maybe something like that has happened, and then I got to know that it's some news has got published in a journal newspaper Swadesh, which is RSS affiliated, and they are saying Bhopal Literature Festival में बाबर भारत खोजने आया, and that was the headline of it, and the subject content was बाबर का महिमा मंडन किया जाएगा भोपाल में. And I was surprised, because I would be the last person to even sing a single line of glory to Babur, except for what he has sung himself for, which comes from his own record or say primary source. I have nothing to glorify Babur for. And then I thought that maybe I need to speak to the people. I rang the right numbers. I tried to get things sorted. I met a few people in Bhopal, and I have to give it to Akhil Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad. They were so keen to listen to what I have to say, and they said that it's a mistake which has happened. It shouldn't have happened, and we are not going to protest, and we are with you, Aabhasji. And in fact, they recorded a video to clarify everything to everybody, that don't get into the news which has been spread by Swadesh. And it is the nature of this generation that WhatsApp पे क्या होता है कि एक clip आपने circulate कर दिया, it just start passing on here and there, and then the agitation begins. But by then perhaps it was too late, and then I sent a press note to Swadesh that please clarify it in the next day when my session is about to happen, that is on 10th. They ignored my press note. They denied to meet me, as I'm told by the media coordinator of the BLF, that is Bhopal Literature Festival. They denied to meet me, but I was quite assured that because I have sent the press note, things will settle down. Who likes sensation? Everyone who wants to do the work. That's what I thought. But I was wrong. The next day, I heard again from the organizer that now we have to cancel your session because the people might be burning the copies of your book. There would be vandalizing the bookstore. The Manjul Publishing House had their bookstore there. There was a threat of vandalizing that bookstore. Your session would be interrupted. This is the intel and the input I have got. I also got to know police finally came and got my books away. And my session was to begin at 2 o'clock or 1:50, something like that. But, it was 1 p.m. And by 12:45, I'm told that this is a subject I have to speak on. My session was changed, and I was already going through a lot of turmoil, as in hearing the threats, the book. I was talking to media all day and day out because the local media was all around to understand my side of story. So I was already drained entirely. And so somehow I coped up with the session. I spoke what I could. I spoke about architecture. I spoke about ancient India. I put the words together to make sense of the session, which was not supposed to be the session like the way it was supposed to be, but it happened.
So why do you think this happened? As you said in the beginning, as you said, no politician in India, and historically we can find so many examples, and really whether it is left, right, and center, all three ideological political dispensations have banned books. All three ideological dispensations have curbed free speech. Writers and free thought have been threatened under all political regimes. Why do you think this happened with your book?
I'll tell you. So the problem is that people read very less, and this is a problem with everybody. They don't read, and there was a problem with the title, I believe. The title is Babur, the Quest for Hindustan, and anybody who is a student of language would know that every word means differently when it added to a particular context. Here, the the quest means the Babur's desire to conquer Hindustan or get into Hindustan. This is what the word quest stood for here. But I assume what they have done, they just first saw the word Babur and they all got, oh, Babur pe session hone wala hai. Everybody has blood pressure gone up. And then they Google translated it. That's my assumption. And they would have caught quest translation as Khoj. And that's why they put this title, Babur Bharat Dhoondne Aaya Bhopal Literature Festival mein. And that's when the whole thing picked up. Circulation of the snippet
We're just losing your connection a bit. I'm going to ask you to reconnect, Aabhas, if you can hear me. Can you hear me? I think Aabhas is frozen there. While he reconnects, let me actually explain this controversy to you. Basically, a book written by Aabhas on Babur, a book that he laughs when there is talk about possible glorification of the book. Let's show the book cover so you have an idea of which book I'm talking about. Can you bring up the book? Yeah, there it is. And this book, he was slated to talk about this book at the Bhopal Lit Fest. But just before his scheduled session, he was informed that an article had been published in an RSS-linked newspaper, Swadesh, and or rather magazine, a journal. And that journal spoke about how this book was glorifying Babur. And a number of people sprang to Aabhas's defense since then. They've been talking about how, Aabhas as a historian would never glorify Babur. And basically this review, as it were, had been written without reading the book. That's just what Aabhas was telling me when we lost the line. I'd really appreciate it if I could be told whether Aabhas is reconnecting or we can actually... Okay, so he should be back with us any moment. But in the meantime, just to continue what happened. And so the Bhopal Literature Festival then basically scraps this session at the last moment. What is ironic is that Aabhas is not a critic of the RSS. He's not a critic of the BJP. In fact, his earlier book was a book on Modi and why he believed that Prime Minister Modi is right for India. He's also written an open letter to the Prime Minister. And so this is, really about what always happens to the free speech debate in India. Oftentimes people are commenting on what has been said without ever having read the book. And, Aabhas was saying, and I completely agree, that there is no political dispensation in India that has really ever supported free speech. Congress, BJP, left, right. We've had all kinds of examples of books having been curbed, free speech having been curbed. And the irony is that in Madhya Pradesh, of course, in Indore, several years ago in 2021, stand-up comic Munawar Farooqi, his show was in fact ransacked in Indore. He had to spend many months in prison. So again, it doesn't seem to matter in this case whether you are in fact on the right side of the divide or on the left side of the ideological spectrum. If a group of self-appointed custodians of some particular values that they claim are being basically violated, if any group of self-appointed custodians of those values decide to get offended, then they simply get offended. I think Aabhas is back with us. I can see him there. So before we got cut off, I was showing this clip, a few years ago, Munawar Farooqi, the stand-up comic, he was performing a show in Indore and he was ransacked then actually by a BJP leader. And the point I was simply making is the one that we were talking about before we lost you, that no political party in India, if you look at it, you will find books that have been banned under every single political dispensation. So do go ahead and make the point that you were making.
Yes, and it's very unfortunate, Barkha, because any politician you pick, any party you talk to, they just hate free speech because that's the only weapon what they can use for, being prominent. And what happened in Madhya Pradesh or Bhopal right now with me was more or less, as I was explaining, that they just quickly jumped onto the title. They did not care to read it. because perhaps that's the reason what legitimizes their existence. And they just wanted to create a ruckus around Babur as being as a subject. They did not care to read about the book. And in fact, if we look at the glorious past of Bharat has always been about inclusion. It's always been about freedom of speech. It was absolute. And I say it with a lot of authority because I have read about the subject. Nalanda is a great case where the Buddhists did did the polemic against, say, the Sanatan Dharma, or say the traditional Hinduism. But it was always a debate, discourse existed.
Yeah.
And if we
Yeah.
don't have the debate, India would have collapsed long back, because it was so diverse, and which never happened in the other part of the world, like other civilizations, say Egypt or say Persia. They all collapsed because of the point that there was no freedom of speech. They were not open to receive the ideas of the others. And what makes India unique every time is the reception of all the kind of thoughts which comes in through, right? Which we have failed off late. And I would say that it began from the right from the freedom, after we received the freedom, when the first article was first amendment came by Pandit Nehru, which was to curb the freedom of speech. And again, there will be apologists for this too. But we have seen the sequence right from the Pandit Nehru to, say, Indira Gandhi, to whatever happened right now, what's happening in Madhya Pradesh, what I saw recently. And I have always taken a stand, Barkha, that I want all the thoughts to come in. I am completely against the ban culture. I completely go by this narrative, which has become a meme, that if you don't like a film, don't watch it. I have this thing to say to everybody, that if you don't like something, don't watch it. Do a
And so
rebuttal.
I want to, absolutely. I think a book that you disagree with should be countered with another book. A play that you disagree with should be countered with another play. And for a moment, let's assume that you have written a book that had a different perspective on Babur. People are allowed to write the most scathing review about you. They're allowed to say, we don't want to engage, intellectually with him because we think he has ABC thoughts. It is not intellectually robust. But frankly, even if your book had said what Swadesh claimed it had said, I believe that there is no business that they had in banning your session.
Absolutely. I completely agree to it. And this is the point which I made to the organizers too. And say that the blames are being made that you are having a lot of leftists coming to your literature festival. But the point what I made, Barkha, is that if we start getting into this trance of the echo chambers, like say that if I have written a book critical of Babur, and if I am true or if I'm correct, and if I need to be heard, I need to be heard by the people who don't agree to my thought. Otherwise, what point I'm making? I can get a clap, say that you agree with my thought, you can clap for me, I will clap for
Yeah.
you, but it holds no significance whatsoever. Significance lies in getting the narrative all through
Mhm. Okay. We can,
the corners,
unfortunately,
across
are you back?
the lines.
Yeah, we lost you briefly there again, and we promise you we're not censoring you. This is purely to do with Aabhas's internet connection, and I'm sure he'll rejoin in just a second. But as Aabhas was saying, basically he is totally against the ban culture. He believes that what was written in Swadesh, the person writing it or the people writing it got it completely wrong. But had it even been true, he's completely against this culture of banning. He's also written an open letter to the Prime Minister that I'm keen to find out more about, and I'm hoping that he will be able to join us just to get a last comment from him in. Basically, again, if you've just joined us, we're talking about a book written by Aabhas Maldahiyar. The book is on Babur. If we can bring up the book is on Babur, and the book was meant to be, could you please show the book? Yes, the book was meant to be discussed at the Bhopal Literature Festival. And at the very last moment, it was cancelled. In fact, what Aabhas calls so-called Hindu groups, that's Aabhas's phrase. He was told later that they were threatening to burn the book. And the police had to come away and take copies. And of course, while we talk about not liking the ban culture, I suppose no festival and no police force wants a law and order situation on their hands. And as I was saying, Aabhas is actually a Modi supporter. His earlier book was on why Modi is right for India. I'm not sure if Aabhas is actually back with us. There he is. Aabhas, tell me this. You wrote an open letter to the Prime Minister. Talk a little bit about that open letter.
Yes, that open letter was very much needed because I got frustrated. Day by day, Swadesh was publishing wrong things about me. They even went on to say that I'm lying, that my books, there was no threats whatsoever given. So then I thought that enough is enough. They even justified that they got they got my session banned or say halted. They did not let the session happen. Then I thought it's enough in enough. First you do create false news, fake news about me. It's I see it as a defamation. I'll tell you why. Because I have not written a book what they're claiming to have been. I have written, right. This book is talking the truth of Babur, what he did in Hindustan, using the primary sources. No one is coming to. And after that, when they go on to tell that I am lying, I am trying to play victim, though I had not done anything so far. And I, as I told you earlier, I was the first one to give them the press note. Please clarify. Let's sort it out. I don't want any ruckus or any issues to happen in the days to come, or say rather the next day itself. But they did not care to do it. They did not let me meet them, right? So then I thought that okay, maybe I need to write an open letter, because even if I said through the post, it will reach, not reach. I don't know whether it will read by the Prime Minister or not. But I wanted to put this thing on record for the people at the top brasses of the BJP also. The government should take a government of Madhya Pradesh also need to look at it, because if police is coming and instructing to remove the books to the Manjul Publishing House, who were having the bookstore, it means police cannot do
Yeah.
anything without government saying something, right? Even
Can
culture
I ask
minister
you?
said something.
Yeah, sorry, go
Yes.
ahead. Culture Minister. Culture Minister.
So even culture minister initially, culture minister's statement was published in Swadesh, where he also condemned the session. And now he is saying that, oh, I had nothing to do with the event. I don't know about the book, etc. He's saying it right now. But these things cannot happen until unless some people are pushing you to do something. As in, without administration getting into the picture, these things don't happen.
Let me ask you in the end two questions actually. One, what happens to your book now? If you believe that actually there was so much almost lazy illiteracy around this that people didn't read the book, they simply ran it through Google Translate and maybe came up with a Hindi translation that didn't work for them or gave them the wrong idea. Are you worried that the amplification of this book will now be impacted because at other events people may have the same apprehensions about law and order? And secondly, what do you believe that this is the danger of creating an environment of political censorship, again not unique to any one party in India, but all parties do this when they need to? And two, a vigilante culture, because all it takes is frankly 3 people, 4 people to create a law and order apprehension. It just takes 3, 4 self-appointed so-called custodians of some value.
Yes, and it's vigilantism, which is very dangerous. And when it comes from, say, the goons or the people at the street, that's fine. You can expect it because they go by the narrative, what they are made to do. But when it comes from the top brasses, like the Vice Chancellor of Markanlal Chaturvedi University has written a letter to the culture minister. He's saying he's showing objection about BLF, etc.
Oh
All
my
those things are
God.
fine. But at last, he's writing that why do we need to discuss Babur even in the time of now? And this is being said by the Vice Chancellor of Makhanlal Chaturvedi University, whose motto is "Let all noble thought come from all the side." That's the motto of the university. And forget, he's taking a stance against the book, and he's the person who wrote 2 books on the medieval Islamic invasion. He's the one who has written it. It got published recently, and through Garuda Prakashan. That book is very much there. When he can talk about Islamic invasion, but he want to censor other people to not talk about it, saying that let's spread positivity and whatnot. So this is what to say about vigilantism. If the people at the top brass level do this, what do we expect of the scholarship? What shall happen in the future? Right now it's Babur. I'm going to come up with a book on Humayun and Akbar. Akbar will again have a lot of nuances because he has done a lot of bad, a lot of good. Everything is there. So how these people will react 6 years down the line when my book on Akbar is there? When actually
Yeah.
some part will be there which will praise Akbar, which is truth, because of course he did a lot of horrible things, but there's some good part of Akbar too, which I will put, because I am not going to be like a pamphleteer, which the leftists used to do in the past, that let's make Islamic invaders look good in all the sense. They came here for economy, they had nothing to do with religion, etc. While I'm talking about the opposite of it, I cannot ignore the good. I don't want to commit the same mistake what the leftists did.
Yeah. All I will say is that I hope that your book is read and then debated. Of course, people have the right to like or not like, agree or disagree with your book. But I think what the point you're making is vigilantism shrinks the spirit of inquiry. The spirit of inquiry that we hold so dear to our civilizational ethos. This is being undermined, grossly undermined. I have been at LitFest before. I remember Salman Rushdie was to come and speak once at a LitFest. I was supposed to moderate him, and we had a similar set of issues. That time it was on the other side of the political divide. This time it's on this side of the political divide. And as you said, every neta in India has curbed free speech when it has suited them. So it's for people to speak up and say, please stop this. So Aabhas, all I can say is we wish you well. I will pick up a copy of your book and read it, and I hope many others will follow, and then we'll have a proper debate. Thank you for sharing what happened with you, and I hope many more people read your book as a result of this unfortunate and tragic vigilantism that you had to experience, and unacceptable, frankly, vigilantism that you had to experience in Madhya Pradesh. Take care and all the best to you, Aabhas.
Thank you, Barkha. It was really a pleasure talking to you and expressing the whole
It's great
concern.
to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.